if anybody out there that's new, that hasn't gotten into real estate, don't let the plan hinder your progression, right? You're gonna fail. I guarantee it. But fail fast and learn from it,
Right.
and don't get down on yourself. Like, I could have been like, I'm never doing real estate again, because I got into it with a bad partner and it fell apart and I had to manage everything and pay for everything. But that taught me everything that I know. You gotta buy in a good spot.
Right.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Micah Johnson. And today I'm joined by Chris, who's been making some serious moves in real estate since 2007. Chris, welcome in, man. Glad to have you.
Hey, thanks for having me, Micah.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited for our call today. I've really enjoyed our pre-recording discussion where you really used real estate to create the life you want in multiple ways. And I love that about this industry. So I'm excited to dig in and show folks that value today. But to kick things off, for those that may not be aware of who you are yet, tell us a little more, short version of a little more about yourself and what your main focus is right now.
Yeah, so right now, you'll hear my wife come in. I saw her pulling in, but me and my wife own a brokerage in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. We have about 38 agents. I also do driveways and patios. That's kind of what I do during the day while I'm taking phone calls and doing other sales while she's running the brokerage and taking care of our short-term rental management company. So, yeah, she just came in here. She's got the dog is getting excited about her, but we're real family oriented. The family and the kids come first, but obviously we all got to work and do something, live by the sweat of our brow to make all that stuff happen.
Right, man. Well, take us back. What led you to where you are today? How'd you get into the real estate world and then grow what do you have now?
So I would say, what got me into real estate and really thinking about real estate was my first house I bought in 2007. I bought it with someone else. They didn't end up working out, and we both decided we wanted to move away from the house and not live in the house. So I was thrust into, you can either default on the house, which I've always been taught not to do, and I haven't ever, on a credit card, on anything I've ever borrowed. So I decided I'm gonna rent it out, and so I did the numbers, and I got at that time it was at the crash, right at the crash. I think 2008 is when the crash happened. I think I got $50 over what my mortgage and taxes were, but that got my wheels turning and thinking, just because you buy a house doesn't make you an investor. Just because you're renting a house doesn't make you a good landlord or any of those other things. You have to buy right. You have to know what your demographics are. You have to know what money you're going to bring in before you even do the deal. you have to have an exit strategy. So as those checks came in every month.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Which was only $50. Obviously, that doesn't cover much. It was coming out of my pocket. So that really got me thinking, you got to buy right. You got to buy right. So as I moved through my life and me and my wife had some more means and more money coming in, I was like, I want to go back to that and buy another rental, figure this out again. And I was driving down Hagerstown area, and there was an auction happening outside. I think this was in 2011, and I'd never been to a house auction before. And as you know, I'm on the phone with her, and we'd already kind of talked about buying another house. I said, well, I know we got 20% down, and this. So I did a bunch of research real quick. This is like when the iPhone came out, and
Okay.
found out what I actually found out what they bought it for. It was an older lady who had just died. I found out how much I was using Craigslist at that point. How much the house is going to rent for, a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, and I figured, and when I went through the house, I could get another bedroom. So 4-bedroom, 2-bath with a garage on 2 acres. How much is that going to rent for? And I said, I got to get 500. I got to get 10 times what I got in the last one, right? So we end up, I
Right.
won that bid, and my wife, she was having a heart attack. She's like, "You just bought a house, and buying a house, especially your second or third one, it's scary, right?" So she wasn't too happy about it, but she trusted me. So I'm on a podcast. Do you want to say hi to Micah? She says no. And so we went through, and we rented it out, and it's still making money. We still have that one. That one's a really big income producing property. We've been able to increase it every time it turns over. And then it just started snowballing. We were buying one a year, and then we've been, luckily my uncle was able to give our family a trust money, and then we turned that into a vacation rental up at Raystown Lake. And then after we started
Okay.
managing those, it snowballed, and now we have 27 rentals. That's doing very well. So then, we were offered the brokerage company, Jack Real Estate in Chambersburg. Um, we got it at a very good price. Then last year we were offered um, the actual building, so we bought that. So things have been kind of rolling. You just kind of make one deal at a time. Sounds like I do a lot, but I've just kind of gone through and methodically done one at a time the best I could. The first one, though, I always say I failed at that, and I still didn't fail. I didn't technically lose. I just sold it, but I didn't want to take 17 years to win at that one. But yeah,
Right. Well, they say the difference between a good deal and a bad deal is just time. They just don't say how much time and some of the
yeah,
pain that comes along with that. When you
absolutely.
do, but you nailed it, man. Like, as you grow and learn in real estate, you make your money at the buy. If you're not making your money at the buy, you're putting way, way, way too much risk into the deal. The chances of you being successful are so much lower because that's where you do it. And man, you got this track record. So you went from long-term rentals up front and then that shift into short-term rentals once you were able to use the trust money. Now, why the shift to the short term? Do you still do long-term and short-term, or now fully just short-term?
So yeah, we have 3 that we still do short term. They're we don't really have any issues with them. They're in great areas. They make some money. Um, though always the problem is when you're gonna sell something.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
You have to buy, otherwise you're going to lose half of your profit, right? The tax guy is going to get you. So we did do a 1031 last year to get that building, a real estate building, and that was a plan. I was like, hey, I've got one. I could do a couple of upgrades and sell it. And I think we were from the day we decided to the day we sold it was 3 months, and we were able to keep our contract on that building without extending it. So you got to have a plan. But if anybody out there that's new, that hasn't gotten into real estate, don't let the plan hinder your progression, right? You're gonna fail, I guarantee it. But fail fast and learn from it,
Right.
and don't get down on yourself. Like, I could have been like, I'm never doing real estate again, because I got into it with a bad partner and it fell apart and I had to manage everything and pay for everything. But that taught me everything that I know. You gotta buy in a good spot.
Right. Right. It makes sense too, man. One thing my mentor says, he's in his later 60s now. He did real estate for a long time in New York City, but he said, Micah, the only reason I have a highlight reel is because of my low light reel.
Right.
If I didn't have those hard times and the mistakes and the failures and all those things, and I wouldn't have a highlight. All the cool stuff I got to do, I wouldn't have done it. And it's powerful to hear that. And I appreciate you saying that same thing because especially if you're new, you really don't want it to be hard, and that's gonna be a hindrance in the long run. Like, hard equals good, it's okay, doesn't mean anything bad. Just know you're gonna walk through it, right? Don't be surprised by how hard it can be. And I was talking to somebody the other day. If it helps, start calling it challenging instead of hard, right? Hard can
Right.
trigger a response in your brain that's negative, where challenging can trigger a response where you'll go into strategy mode. Okay, fine. But like you said, it's really that story you're telling yourself. You could have told yourself a story that took you out of real estate forever, but instead chose to tell it in a way where now you own 27 short-term rentals, 3 long-term rentals, a commercial building, a real estate brokerage. Like, that simple, okay, I'll just figure this out, is really what does this. It's what creates success. And it really doesn't matter the industry, but especially in real estate, that stick to itiveness once it's hard. Like, when it gets hard, smile, you're getting close, right? Don't take
Right.
it as something's going quote unquote wrong. It's just part of it. You will always have a bad deal as long as you play this game long enough. Who knows when it'll show up, but you're going to go through stuff. You'll have the nightmare scenarios, but they won't matter as much because you know the real upside, right? So many people say, don't get in because of this. Yeah, well, to not participate in the number one wealth generator in the world, which is the American real estate market, you better have a real good reason not to do that. And it better be than your friend's uncle didn't like being a landlord, right? Dig
Yeah.
in, really solve it for yourself because it's just what it takes.
Yeah. It seems like anybody that, an actor or a baseball player or really anybody, after they retire from that first initial thrust of money, they go into real estate or construction or something in real stuff. The stock market seems to ebb and flow, and sometimes it goes to zero. I've invested in stocks, and all of a sudden they're worth 4,000, and then they're worth nothing. And just because someone flipped a switch. In real estate, it's real. You can go touch it. You can flip it. You can rent it. You can live in it. You can, whatever your mind can think of. You can work out of. You can turn it into an office. You can keep thinking. You'll find another 10. So
Right. Absolutely. It's
that's
that hedge, man. It's an investment and a hedge at the same time. That's what's powerful about real estate. Like you're saying, it's real. You can touch it.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
So what's got you excited in 2026? What are you working on this year you're pumped about?
Yeah, so I'd say 2026, I think, is going to be the year of the investors. I think I don't know anybody else, but at least up here, the home buyers are having a hard time. It seems like the investors and the builders, the construction trades are still going. So I think that I'm going to try to get my agents focused on trying to find builders and try to list their properties and their potential builds. I think that's the way we're going to try to focus our 2026. It seems like they're the only ones doing anything right now.
Right. And we were talking about that a little bit beforehand, especially in the realtor world. I came from that. That's how I got into real estate originally. And something realtors and real estate that you can get stuck on is that real estate roller coaster. Because you always need something to come through. So where you can go find consistent deals you know are going to be there time and time again. I found them working with investors. That's really what ignited my career to show me what real estate can really do for you by figuring out, okay, who can I sell a bunch of houses to or for instead of, 30 to 1 or 1 to 30 different people? How can I do 30 to 1 guy? And
Right.
that is where you start to find that, wow, okay, life doesn't have to be up and down. It can be way more. It's always got a gentle little wave to it. You never know quite what's going to happen. But when you're working in those groups, it provides tons of value. And from the investment side, that's who's mostly listening to this style of podcast. What would you tell if there's an investor out there that's looking for realtors to work for? You want a brokerage, man. What would you tell them to look for in a realtor to know they'd be good to work with?
Yeah, so I will say this: if you're a newer agent, you got to get your stuff together. They're gonna know their ins and outs. They've already bought property. They They all but don't need an agent. What you need to do is relieve all of their issues. You need to take if you're going to list their property, you need to know you're going to have one meeting with them and you're going to have to gather all the listing information because they're not going to want to come back to you 2, 3 times. Hey, is there an HOA? Hey, how much is a water bill? How much is this? Take a list of stuff that you know that you're going to have to answer when you type into your MLS and get all that meeting done at one time and then relieve their stress of selling the house. Be like, we're going to list it, we're going to put it on Facebook, we're going to put it on Instagram, we're going to put it wherever you're going to put it that builder doesn't already have. That'll be what you're going to provide for that builder. Of course, if you're going to give them, if they're going to give you a bunch of houses, they're probably going to ask for a discount. Yeah, so the investors, you really got to have your stuff together. You got to know what the questions are you need to ask them. You should take a checklist to them. You might not get the investor, especially if you're a new agent right away. You got to have the ins and outs. I'll give you one for instance, and maybe newer agents don't know this. I had a listing here. I comped it out at 225, right? So then I had a agent bring an offer to me and said, "Hey, they really need 10,000 or 9,000 at closing, something like that." And I said, "Well, I think it'll comp out to 235. Let's go ahead and change contract price, and we'll give you that 10,000 off the top." Something you probably have done before and you've heard of. And back in the '08 and '07, that's how you got your down payment. It's really hard to
Right.
do anymore. But uh, the agent was like, "I think we can do that. You think it'll appraise?" I said, "Yeah." So that house right there was for an investor, and he was like, "I'm not budging off 25,000." So that's one way you can kind of, bring more people to the agent's sales funnel, right? And one thing you really have to stress to an investor that doesn't have an agent is how big of a reach a real estate agent has. As we've been sitting here on this podcast, Zillow, Realtor.com, all my emails, they're backed up and pushed to me. Like, we're touching millions of people as soon as we hit that publish button. Yes, you can list on Facebook also. Yes, you can put it on Instagram, but people are already signed up with all these push notifications. As soon as something comes for sale in their, in their little folder, the things that they've set up to that they're interested in, they'll get it right away. So that's what you have to sell an investor. Why are you valuable? Why are they, they look at it as, I'm losing 6%. An investor that's not sold on agents, that's all they look at. I don't want to lose 6%. Add that up, 100,000, 6,000, 12,000, 18,000. Like, they can do a lot of stuff with that money. So sell yourself, sell what you do. If you need to take your computer with you and give a small little presentation of all the ways that you're going to be marketing their house, that's what you have to sell. And you do that for anybody and everybody, but you really have to bring some creative things in mind for an investor to get to sign up with you.
Right. It's more of a business mindset when you're walking in. Like I love the way you were talking about you got to solve their stress. That is exactly right. Figure out that part that they don't do well and what's stressing that business out so that you can come fill that gap. Because a good realtor is worth their weight in gold. A good one is the ones that know what they're doing, because you're the ones keeping track the most on what the market's doing. The thing you just described, man, that's what same thing I would tell people. Like, look, these are saved searches out there. The moment this goes through, we're either going to hit that search or not. That's why pricing is so important, and understanding how you're going to be. Oh, let's price it 20 grand over just to wiggle down. No, I mean, this is a different market than we're in currently right now. When we were telling them this, but dude, no, we can't do that. It's going to cost us thousands of people who won't get to see the house because you missed their search. And now they're not going to show up into their search until we do a price reduction. And now you got days on market, and you want to sell or buy or not to buy your home, give it a big days on market, because there's only one people think for that reason. What's wrong with
Yeah,
it?
and just to touch on that one little thing, let's say, your house is priced at 600 and you priced it at 620 because one down the street sold at 620 that had some crazy walkway or a swimming pool with it or something. And if you do get an offer, now you're dealing with a haggler, right? They started with the haggle because they're going to get you down to 600. They're going to haggle you when you get your inspections. They're going to hag you all the way through to when you get your last final check at the closing table. And so if you can get people and price it right, then you won't deal with those hagglers. You'll have kind of pick of the litter, people with cash, people that are qualified to buy.
And it gives you the better chance of actually getting more than you listed for. If it's
Yeah.
done correctly, pricing done right sells for more, because you trigger that in people, that fear of loss, that, no, this is such a great deal. Look at where it is. And you'll get people to move on it, where, like you're saying, man, you could list at 600 and get 615. Way simpler than trying to list at 625 and come back down and keep it at 615. Your chances of staying there, like you're saying, those are hagglers you're dealing with. Those are folks that actually enjoy it. And it can be annoying because
I
they
know.
want to bargain. They think it's fun for it to go back and forth 7 or 8 times. Where, my opinion, if I don't know what you're doing by move 2, I'm not doing it right. Like, by move 3, we should be done if we're doing this correctly. And that's really, again, it's being that professional, because for that investor, days on market for them are expensive. You've got a lot of holding costs that are going into every single day. So if you are dealing with one that's, I know how much I'm going to lose if I do this, but when you can operate on a way of, okay, you might know how much you're going to lose, but let me show you how much you're going to save. Let me show you how you have a potential for making if I am a part of this, because that's your benefit. like you're saying. I'm going to come in here and relieve stress. I'm going to save you money this way. Everybody's worthy to be paid. And that's where if you're working with a good investor, they don't mind you being paid as long as you're doing that job. And they will definitely pay you when you show up in their world like you're talking about professionally,
Sure.
knowing your stuff.
Yeah.
Like they want professionals, be the professional they're looking for. And it is different than your everyday retail buyer because that's more of a bubbly, happy conversation where they're moving in. Like it's just different where it's more math related. It's more, this is how the business runs. And if that really lights you up internally, that's what it did for me. Man, dive into that world. I'm pumped you're training them because I tell a lot of investors, find agents, go find them to work with. You have folks that they've agreed to work for free out of the gate. Like they signed up for this. They raised their hand to do it and they're spending all their time in the market you're trying to be in. Talk to them. How can you build these relationships where they're out seeing houses you want to buy every day and they'll knock on the door for you too if you'll show them what to do. That's what that other investor did for me. He didn't just show me a bunch of houses to sell. He told me what he wanted. And now I'm driving around the neighborhood every day with a bunch of money to spend that's not mine. If I can
Right.
wake up knowing he's got money to spend, like that's what every agent needs as a customer. Man, okay, I'll wake up with $1 million of somebody else's money today and go knock on doors, look for houses. It's how you get off that roller coaster we were talking about. It's where you become that real estate professional, right? That is it's not hope anymore. You're not just waiting for your phone to ring and hoping to get a lead. You are actively doing something that really guarantees that success later down the road.
Right. And I was telling you about that. We have the vacation rental company up at the lake, Raystown Lake, Pennsylvania, Aunt Susie's Vacations. Uh, I got a call. Someone said, "Hey, I can see everything on the market. Do you know something that's not on the market?" Well, I said, "Yeah, I do." Well, I didn't. But I'm gonna find something, right? So I
Right.
started calling all my contacts. So I called my cleaner, I called my handyman, I called my HVAC guy, I called these people I love to work with. It makes it easy for me, right? I have good people around me, and it's fun to have a conversation with them. Hey, do you know a house that's for sale? I got somebody who's got, what's your budget? What's the size you want? Around what area? And I'll start looking. I found 2 houses for sale, and none of them were the ones that the person wanted. But today, I just put one on the market because of the phone calls I made, just by happenstance. Yeah, I'll sell it. Will you list it for me? I was like, well, yeah. So there was no fruits from, and maybe not yet because I don't think they bought a house, but I was able to find a house to put on the market. So it's just really, fortunately or unfortunately, you got to be outgoing. You got to be a people person. Hey, I got this. I got that. What do you got? You got to keep talking to people over and over again. And hopefully, you're not in that situation where your neighbor's like, "Hey, yeah, my house is for sale. It wasn't with me." Well, you never talked about it with your neighbor, did you? You just kind of hoped that they knew you were an agent. Well, if you never talked about it with them, then someone else will. So you got to be outgoing. You got to sell yourself. Got to sell your services.
You absolutely do. And no one else is going to do that for you. That's not the brokerage's job. That is your
Right.
job. And to just talk. Like that's the handiest thing about real estate. It is a people business. And the handy thing enough, your people. Right? It's another person just like you. We all live in homes. We all do these things. Like the conversation is much simpler than you think to talk about. I remember when I first got in, I would go to the local Gander Mountain and I would just talk to random people and see how long it took to get to real estate. Like if we're all going to talk about it, how long did it take me? Okay, there's some other guy looking at shirts on the other side of this rack. How long by the time I say hello, can I get him to talk about real estate? It's about 4 minutes on average. It doesn't really take that long to get to it because the natural conversation is, so what do you do? Right? If you ask somebody first, so what do you do? They're
Right.
guaranteed to ask you back. So what do you do? Right?
Right.
Set yourself up to talk out loud. Because if you don't feel good about just talking about yourself, ask questions. Everybody likes to talk about themselves. Let them talk first. They'll ask you second, and then you can do that part that you want to do. But you nailed it, man. It's having that team behind you. You just listed out. Whenever I did teach agents, you need a tool belt and it needs to have a roofer. It needs to have an AC guy. It needs to have a plumbing guy. It needs to have lenders in it. It needs to have movers in it. It needs to have all the spider web of everything that could touch real estate. Cause one, you never know who you're going to need to call for one of your customers. And two, you never know what's going to come back by keeping those relationships alive. Because if you keep them well, like you're talking about, one, you enjoy working with them. Two, they'll end up passing deals your way eventually. That's just the
Yeah,
way the game goes.
and it's fun, one way I do it, I wear this is the clothes I wear every day. Put my company. It's a nice, comfy shirt. Do I look completely professional? No, but you might also find me crawling underneath your house, so I don't want to wear, a $500 suit. Just because me crawling underneath the house might save you, like, hey, you got a bunch of copper lines here busted. You got a sewer that's leaking. You got, whatever it is, and I'm not afraid to jump into it and go through it with you. That's what you're buying when you buy me. You're buying not just an agent who can get you through it. It can be like, hey, that's not Romex, that's knob and tube. We're in an older home. We're gonna need a electrical inspector to tell you all the real problems you got here. This might sound like a good deal right now, but we might be asking for a $50,000 electrical bill so the house don't burn down. So so this is how I dress and this is how I talk every day to everybody I'm with. And it's fun to me. And like I was telling you before I got on, before we started recording, was I just going out helping people get what they want. You know, like I said before, I do driveways. I get a lot of leads from that. The driveway guy is the last guy before you put the house on the market. A lot of times I'll get someone, hey, we need to sell this house before we sell it. Okay, well, you have an agent? No. Well, I'll be your agent. You'll be my agent too. That's one last phone call I need. So yeah, we'll put on the market. A lot of times I tell them, because I'm in it every day. Be like, I think we're like 420, 430. They're like, that's what I want. And you're like, all right, you already agreed on the sales price. You don't have to have that meeting. I sold the seal on the driveway, sold the retaining wall, and then if you sell a house too, like they got a brand new house, and they're like, hey, I want to put a patio and a swimming pool. Well, I'm there with you through that project too. And I'm just going around helping people. And that's, as an agent, that's all you're doing. If you can get the money out of your mind, you got to have your sell price and you got to work all that stuff out. But if you can get the money out of your mind and just go and help people, people will just flock to you. They'll be like, this guy's helping me out. I'm just trying to help you out. And this is what I can do. Here's this answer. And if I don't have that answer, I'll go find it. That's all you're
Right.
doing is helping people. That they
Right.
need you. They need you to get through this transaction. Someone that's on their side to get them through the transaction.
I love that, man. I love that. I've enjoyed our conversation today. I appreciate the way you view it, how you go about it. I love the life that you created because it's like the essence of quote unquote vertical integration. How many things can you get out of one deal? If I can get a side, if I can do your driveway and sell your house and then put in a patio, like heck yeah. How many customers are expensive. The more you can get out of one, man, that's the better that you're doing. And each one feeds into the next one, man. I love that. I love that. Again, thanks for being with us today. For those that are listening and watching that want to find more out about you, about your real estate company, what's the best way for them to find you?
Yeah, so my brokerage is at jak-realestate.com in Chambersburg. And then our vacation rental company, it's Aunt Susie's with S's, AuntSusies.com. You'll see our portfolio. We got a great website there. It's a beautiful lake. It's got 3 marinas. You'll fall in love with it if you ever come up to visit. It puts those Florida lakes to shame. We got real fish. You won't get eaten. There's no alligators up here. Yeah,
Do remember the first lake I ever swam in where there wasn't something big enough to eat me. I was almost 20 and I was blown away. I was just like, wait a second. There's nothing in here that's going to like hurt me?
the
Wait, hold
chances
on.
of dying went down really far today.
Right. Yeah, it was crazy. But I love that, man. Well, thanks for sharing. If you're watching, listening, check our show notes. We're going to have all of Chris's links there for you. Like I always say on here, when you meet a professional, reach out and talk to them. That's why we try to bring high quality people on the show. So if there's something you're trying to learn, something trying to understand, maybe you're doing business in that area, you're an agent in that area, reach out to the people we bring on because there's a reason they're here. Work with folks who are good at it, That's how you create that business and the life that you want. So check out his links, visit him, book a call with him if you need to. Chris, again, thanks for being here today. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Like this episode if you got value out of it. Share it with a friend if you think they could get value. And please subscribe to our podcast. We appreciate every single one of you that follows along with us out there. We've got more conversations coming up with operators just like Chris out there building a real business in the industry. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.